that maybe he's a platoon player, lefty on the mound. Maybe it's as simple as allow out, Mead in, done and done. He's your backup second baseman for the beginning of the season, and he'll play against lefties, and you call it good right there.
By the way, he had a 364 average against lefties in 50 plate appearances, 440 on base, a 409 slug. That's an 849 whooping OPS. That's nice.
Yeah.
Small sample size.
Small sample size.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays. From game analysis to player interviews, we've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And it is your boy, Evan Closky, next to a man who has sharpened up that potato.
Yes. When my potato is malfunctioning, I just go to the pantry, grab a couple more potatoes. Sometimes potato gets stale, I have to swap it out, and bing, bang, boom, I'm like Ben Franklin. Internet's all better.
Ship those suckers from Boise.
Locked on potatoes, baby.
If potato prices mirror egg prices, I'm really screwed. It's just going to be you two recording.
You're gonna need the hookup on the potatoes, but you know what? You also need the hookup for FanDuel, because this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Back-to-back episodes with Mr. Evan Closky, and last episode was about stadium stuff. Guess what? No stadium talk today. We've got a spring training report. We got people bulking up, and I want to focus on that first because Curtis Mead, friend of the pod, and Jonny DeLuca showed up, well, on that Johnny Bravo look that I'm trying to achieve.
They're on the Yandy Diaz 1,000 bench press and arm curl programs.
Yes.
We all want that. And apparently they are succeeding at that regimen. So first off, I want to get your take on this. Is this spring training fodder, or is this a significant development? Before you answer, I do want to say this. DeLuca's hard hit rate at 26.8% is well below the MLB average of 36.5%. And Curtis Mead's sits at 31 hard hit rate percent, which is, again, well below 36.5%. So, again, spring training fodder, or is this a significant development for these two players?
I love to get into the best shape of my life season. We don't know. Last year, at this very time, we were like, yo, Randy Rosarena, he's jacked. And then next thing I know, we're into April, and I got everybody I mentioned saying, this man got too buff. He got too buff. He's too stiff. So who knows, right? Like, who knows what's going to happen there? You don't know how he's going to manage that muscle. But they look good, and that's cool. So we'll see. I'm not into really, all that, right? Like, I got to see what's on the product will dictate the narrative that we discuss, because if they hit really well, we can say, oh man, that weight training really paid off. If they stink, we're going to be like, well, they need to slim down and be more flexible. So it's always a moving target.
Yeah, and it could also be, well, how much does it impact the defense? If you put on too much weight, you may not be as shifty in the outfield or infield wherever you're placed as well. So
yeah, well, talking about Curtis Mead, let's stay on him for a little bit. We got a question from one of the OG fans of the show. I'll put it on the YouTubes. The question I have really been thinking about is, where does Curtis Mead fit into the current team? Will they make room for him? Will they trade him? Could they try him at corner outfield? What say you about Ryan Hill's question, Evan?
Well, first off, let me just we pull up the question again so I can go through?
Sure.
I'm trying to find it. Yeah. Okay. So fit in the current team. Right now, there are probably 12 guys locked into a roster spot, meaning there's one guy left up for grabs. Ha-Seong Kim would be number 13 there.
Mm-hmm.
That won't really come into play until mid to
May.
we'll say mid-May, to late May. So we got about 6 weeks here of some possible prove yourself time. So he can.
Should we run down the names for people that might not have these 12 locked into memory?
Yeah. Let me pull it up here, and I just want to double check here because I'm pretty sure Curtis Mead has options left, right?
I believe one more.
That's I thought he had. Yeah, he's got yes. So you can do the shuttle service with him. So I don't think there's any rush to send him out of town. You know, like why do you need to trade him? He's good depth at the bare minimum. But as far as hitters are concerned, we got Rortvedt, Aranda, Caballero, Caminero, Yandy Diaz, Brandon Lau, Christopher Morel, Richie Palacios, Jonny DeLuca, Josh Lowe, Danny Jansen, Taylor Walls. And then Ha-Seong Kim would be 13. But obviously we're not talking about that. So the thing is that leaves us with 4 outfielders in that scenario. Now, that depends on if – and that's putting Palacios in the outfield, by the way.
Yeah.
Because you have Morel, DeLuca, Lowe, and
Palacios 4.
And Palacios. Oh, yeah. Okay, of course. So that's your 4. Like, do you think that you need a 5th outfield? Because it comes down to Mangum or it comes down to Mead.
It's going to come down to Caballero, as we heard on FanFest by Kevin Catch.
Well, Caballero yes. But the point I'm getting at is if it really comes down to Mangum or Mead, and you could take Mead on and make sure that Caballero is sort of that 5th outfielder since he's going to be the shortstop, at least to begin the year, right? And then theoretically, Ha-Seong Kim comes in, you move Caballero out to the outfield permanently, and then now you're kind of stuck. I mean, injuries are going to happen, so you need that depth. But Curtis Mead, when you look at his numbers, his splits against lefties were very good. I think he hit north of 300 against lefties in a small sample size, but at least it showed that maybe he's a platoon player. Lefty on the mound, maybe it's as simple as allow out, Mead in, done and done. He's just your backup second baseman for the beginning of the season, and he'll play against lefties, and you call it right there.
By the way, he had a 364 average against lefties in 50 plate appearances, 440 on base, a 409 slug. That's an 849 whooping OPS. That's nice.
Yeah.
Small sample size.
Small sample size, but proof that if Lau's your dude. So whatever, Lau's getting most of the starts, and you against lefties, you sit him, and
exactly.
you throw Mead, and that would be his role on this team for me. That and not to mention if there's an injury like to Brandon Lau, which happens a lot. Hopefully it doesn't, right? But you have coverage now of a dude who can play second base and third base if necessary, if something were to happen with Junior. So you got option. I mean, you can also put, they got defensive flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be my role for Mead. And I don't know what you would necessarily trade him for. Like, who's, I guess somebody would maybe give him time. His stock isn't high enough yet. So why not just enjoy the shuttle service and the depth and see if he can carve out a role with opportunity given to him.
Exactly. I agree with that. Let's talk about FanDuel first before we keep going, because when the game tips off, NBA action is just getting started. National Basketball Association is just getting started on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And guess what? You can place live bets throughout the game. So if you caught the game late, it doesn't matter. You can stay in on the action. And right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Kevin, what do you say to a little bit of fun in the name of Closky on the clock?
I think that's a great idea. Ryan Hill kind of teed it up for us because there's a bevy of questions we'd like to spitfire at Evan over the next few minutes before we wind down with baseball trivia. Name that war.
So let's do that and hit the best intro ever.
It's time for Closky on the clock.
Got to do the jazz hand. That's 3 seconds of that bit there. Very good. Ulises, you want to kick it off?
Yes, I do. Shane, Mac. You know what? I'll leave that to Kev because I know he wants to do that one. I'll do another one. This is a different type of Closky on the clock because I'm going to show you first a video and then I want you to react.
You want to do, you said it, get him comfortable and do right by the player. He had such an impressive winter ball. I bet most of us saw the highlights of what he did, what he accomplished, the bat flip. It's a good thing the roof's not on the Trop because he would have knocked it out. We're going to try to avoid that at Steinbrenner, but we'll take the home runs.
Well, at what point did
a fully cheeky comment from Kevin Cash just to get a laugh? Or is there more of a serious undertone under that cheeky comment saying, that's all fine and dandy, but we're not going to be doing those types of celebrations this year, Junior?
I think that, A, joke first. B, I don't think that Kevin Cash would ever tell Junior to do anything like that and celebrate like that. Look, if it's Game 7 of the World Series, Rays are in it, they're tied, 9th inning, and the man hits a home run in the top of the 9th, I guarantee you Kevin Cash is not going to complain about Junior sending his bat 50 yards north. But I think that otherwise, yeah, I mean, you can't have, and whether we agree or disagree with how the game polices itself, if Junior were to do that in a game, someone is getting beamed in the head. It might not be Junior, it might be somebody else. So, look, that was a special moment, special celebration, and you got to leave that for special time and place. Otherwise, just pop the ball out and let's keep it moving.
Exactly.
All right. The one I have, Shane McClanahan, as we know, was named the 2025 opening day starter. Was this the right call for the Rays, or should they have opted or more heavily considered a pitcher that actually threw innings in 2024?
No, Shane's your dude, right? I mean, Shane is the ace of the staff. Love Shane Baz. Love Ryan Pepio. Love Taj Bradley. Love Zack Littell. Love Drew Rasmussen. But of those 5 guys, I am not starting one of them over Shane McClanahan because Shane, at his best, is that dude for this team. He is your number 1. He is a perennial Cy Young candidate when healthy. And as long as he is healthy, which there is no way the Rays would be pushing their guy sooner than he has to be, then you give this man the opportunity to take the ball opening day. And I think it's a great moment for him after all the hard work he's put in to come back from his second TJ to get on the bump and have that first historical experience in Steinbrenner Field to lead the Rays out there for the 2025 season.
Fair enough. We were talking about maybe, hey, the tradition has always been you earn the opening day starter by what you did the year before. We can go through many years, Price, Shields, Archer, everybody. And you can see how Eflin, you can see how that has been a really cool tradition by the Rays. They break it this year by doing that with Shane Mack. Does this mean that if everybody stays, again, in a universe where pitchers do not get hurt at all whatsoever, does this kind of point out to Zack Littell perhaps being the guy that's going to be traded?
Maybe. I don't know if they – I mean, look, if you're giving me a world where nobody is going to get injured, and I know with 100% certainty nobody is going to get injured, then yeah, Littell would be traded. But having said that, I think that the Rays, it would behoove them to have a guy like Littell. He's an innings eater. He's there for depth. He has pitched in the bullpen. He's been a starting pitcher. He's really done it all. And who knows what happens come close to the trade deadline. He might have immense value for a team out there looking for more depth. You can never have too many pitchers, ever, ever, ever. And I think having a guy like Littell as your quote-unquote number 6 is really good, especially because this team is going to have to manage innings throughout the year. So I don't think you need to trade Littell. Even in a perfect scenario where everyone is healthy, Shane is going to go, I think Kevin said they're aiming for 150 innings this year.
Right.
So don't quote me on it, but that's what they're like ballparking. And if he goes 100, and if he goes 150, he's probably missing 3 weeks of the year at least. So he's going to need a break. Drew is going to need a break. Shane is going to need a break. Like Taj most likely will at least need one minor stint, like a Littell sort of stint from last year. I think Pepio and Littell are probably the closest built to do an entire season if they get there. But even saying that, they need to manage people, and TrackMan and all this technology is really good to the point where if numbers and things start looking a little bit wonky, they shut it down and know that they got someone who can step right up. So I would not trade any of those 6. I think their key to success is doing that. And if it goes south entering the deadline, then we can talk and see what else is cooking.
I don't think we could agree more on this, because if Zack Littell is not your number 6, which I think is a really good way of being, then who's your number 6? Boyle, Seymour? It starts to go down.
And I like those guys, but
I like those guys, but they're not proven commodities. Kevin, you're a proven commodity. Do you have one last clock?
One last clock on the clock before we wrap things up with baseball trivia. Name that war. As we mentioned, Curtis Mead and Jonny DeLuca bulking up, hopefully for the better. There was some rumbling that Eloy Jiménez has entered camp looking more slim than a previous iteration of him. That's always like the main storyline is, who's bulked up, who's slimmed down, who's in the best shape of their life, who's changed their swing, who's added a new pitch. That's always, the status quo with spring training stories. But with Eloy, we know he has had success in the past with the White Sox, and the Rays signed him to a minor league deal that could matriculate into a major league contract and make millions of dollars. But what are your expectations for Eloy? Do you see him as a guy that ultimately makes the team and maybe, I don't know, jacks out 12 to 15 to 17 home runs? Where are you at with Eloy at this moment?
Yeah, and this is a good question, because I think I mentioned how it's Mangum and Mead.
It's time for.
I clicked the wrong thing.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
2, 1.
Oh, yeah. So let me backtrack, because I mentioned how it's a showdown between Mead and Mangum. I lied. Mead, Mangum, Eloy. The only thing is Jimenez was signed to a minor league deal, so they're in no rush to promote him. Jimenez has to really prove in spring training that he should be on the roster ASAP. And forego sort of that deal he signed, they can kind of leave him down there for a little bit to get cooking and see if things happen. But he has a great opportunity to make this team and produce. But I'm not really factoring in Jimenez until I see it. So it's cool that we're excited that he's in amazing shape, and we can talk about the potential and what he's done in the past. But it's been a while since he's been that guy. He's been injury prone. And I need to see the results from him before I get excited and before I try to tell other people to get excited. So everyone in Major League Baseball has sort of these guys on their team that they try to rally up and say, he can turn it around, right? Like, remember what he did when. And until I get to see that now versus highlights of it on YouTube, then let's go day by day with that.
Exactly.
Okay, fair enough. All right, baseball trivia, name that word, coming up next. But first, we have to tell the audience something very important, and that is
yes,
wonderful pistachios. Yes.
Oh, we can see them.
We can see them now. Oh,
awesome. I'll keep this right here. If you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, go ahead and crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you fuller longer. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead, get snacking, get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, there we go.
Love that.
It is time for baseball trivia and name that war. Gentlemen, my trivia question for you all. I have a list of MLB pitchers who have garnered at least 11 opening day starts in their career. Very apropos with Shane McClanahan getting another opening day nod for the Rays. So I want you, because some of these names, or more than some of these names, are obscure, I want you to name 4 of the guys that have been an opening day starter at least 11 times in their career. I will say the number 1 guy on this list had 16.
No.
Wait.
Nolan Ryan? Do we want to go back, Ulises? And
Yeah, let's do ping pong, but I just want to make sure that I understand correctly. 11 opening day starts, and how many guys are on this list?
There is, let's just say at least 11.
So at least 11 guys had at least 11 opening day starts.
There's a bunch of ties, and I can't really add them all up, but there's several names.
All right, fair enough. Nolan Ryan, I think it's a good one. Evan, you want to go?
We'll
start
go
with
Nolan
that?
Ryan.
Nolan Ryan is not on this list.
All right, strike one. How do you feel about your boy Tom Seaver?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Tom Seaver is number 1 on this list in the clubhouse leader with 16.
Okay.
Did we like Clemens?
Clemens is a really good one because that MFer played for 24 years.
Clemens?
Roger Clemens, who won a record 7 Cy Young Awards. Yes, he's on this list. 13 opening day starts. He's tied for 6th, by the way.
How do you like the big unit for this, Evan?
Yeah, we can do that.
I mean, between him or Maddox?
So, Maddox. The problem is with Maddox, he was on those staffs that were so good. Did they like shuffle it around, like with Glavine and Smoltz?
Right. I don't quite remember. I was in pre-K, but yes, I would think that could be an option. I don't know. But Randy.
Try Randy.
You like Randy? Okay, let's go with the big unit, lefty, Randy Johnson.
All right, Randy Johnson. He's tied for 2nd with 14 opening day starts. I just need one more name.
Do we like Pedro?
Ooh, that's sexy.
You like
That's
Pedro?
sexy because he definitely was the guy with Boston, and he arrived in Boston, 97, 98, and left before 2004-ish? That's at least 6 or 7.
And then he was the Mets.
He was with the Mets, 6 or 7, but like
got
what?
a couple.
8? And with the Expos, maybe he got a couple more with the Expos, 9, 10?
It's really close.
Close.
Do you want to go back to Maddox? Do you want to go back to?
I have 2 names now. I have either Maddox or Bob Gibson.
Let's go Bobby Gibson.
Bobby G, baby.
Bob Gibson is not on this list, right?
No.
Strike 2.
All right, Maddox.
You like Maddox as the last one? Is there anybody else that's screaming at you?
I mean, Maddox, he's got the years.
He's got the years.
That's my biggest thing. So,
do we have a name like a Don Larson, like a Don Drysdale? Like, do we have any name like that from
how long has Kershaw been doing it for?
That's not a bad one, actually. That's not a bad one. From 2010 to like 2020, that's at least 10 he had.
I mean, he's been the guy. He's been the A1 since day one.
Verlander?
Gentlemen.
Verlander is oof. He's he's 40 years old.
He's 40, man.
Went to college. I mean, he's had to have been in the league for what, 13 years at least.
We got to go for sure Hall of Famer. I think all of those guys are great.
You want to do Maddox?
I think Maddox is the guy.
Maddox.
Greg Maddox is not on this list. Strike 3. So here is the list. Tom Seaver won, obviously. Steve Carlton tied for second with 14. Randy Johnson also had 14. Walter Johnson had 14. Also 14, Jack Morris. Roger Clemens, 13. Also 13, Robin Roberts. Tie for 8th is Justin Verlander with 12.
No.
Also tied for 8th, Grover Cleveland Alexander with 12.
Big G.
Huh. Who would have thought?
Also 12, Bert Blyleven.
Yeah.
Now 11th place. These guys all made 11 starts. Venezuelan bump, Felix Hernandez.
I'm so ashamed.
You mentioned Hall of Fame. Well, this guy just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. CC Sabathia, 11. And then finally, Fergie Jenkins.
Really, just fantastic bleeping question.
Yeah, it's a good
question. Fantastic question. That's what baseball
said about Verlander. We were like right there, and we just
we had the names, baby. We had the names.
Yeah, I got to go back and see what's up with Nolan Ryan, because he was not. And this is from MLB.com.
That's shocking.
Check out the names that we said that were not correct. Yeah. And like how many did they have? Okay, that's a behind the scenes look. Right now, we're going to be playing another game, which is called Name That War, which is when we take a player from the past and we try to guess their career war according to Baseball Reference, only using a baseball archive mind. And today, I went deep. I was like, you know what? Eloy Jimenez does look real nice. What was happening in his rookie year in 2019? Wait, that guy was his teammate? That's interesting. Let me ask these fellas what his career war is according to Baseball Reference, and that player from the past is Mr. John Jay. What is his career war according to Baseball Bleeping Reference?
Oh, holy smokes! This one's a tough. I haven't thought of this name in forever. John Jay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this guy is. I can't imagine he might have had like one good season that maybe I'm not thinking of, but oh man, he probably stuck around the league for a little bit in a nice reserve role. I'm not even going to act like I should give this much thought. I'm going to just go. I'm going to go 9.2.
All right.
Good real good one.
John Jay, probably at least a decade in the league, slash line, I don't know, 260. He'd average 12 to 15 homers a year, maybe like a 730 OPS. Maybe won a Gold Glove. Bottle all that up, and I'll say he had a 13 career WAR.
I need both of you to show your hands, your jazz hands, as if this was Closky on the clock, because I do not want you to look that his slash line was 283, 348, 373 for a 721 OPS, a 97 OPS plus. You gave him a little bit too much credit on the homers, though, because he basically averaged 5 per season. He had a total of 37 in his 12 years in the league. He played for the Cardinals, Arizona Diamondbacks, Cubbies, Padres, Royals, White Sox, the Anaheim Angels. My gosh, he won a World Series in 2011 with Albert Pujols as his bleeping teammate. And his career WAR is 12.7.
Nice job, Kev.
If I were you, Evan, and you were in the batter's box, or if you were on the mound on this Name That WAR, I would do this. I would tap on my head and I would say, let's go challenge that call. Did Kevin just know this by heart? Because that's 0.3 away. That's pretty damn good.
I knew it, and also like I had done some reading previously on John Jay because he was also a founding father of America. That was
Locked on history.
Yeah.
Locked on American history.
Yeah.
So that's how I knew that question.
That's awesome.
He, believe it or not, I think he retired from MLB at like 300 years old. So good for him.
People
All right.
forget. Evan,
Evan, always a pleasure. Briefly, how can people find your awesome, amazing, wonderful work?
At Closky, WTSP on the X. Ask me any question you want. 99.9% of the time I'll respond, unless you're a jerk. 1010 Bay, 1010bay.com, 1010 Bay Plus. You can find us on YouTube. A lot of stuff going on right now, especially with spring training starting, baseball games starting. So, yeah, just come and hang out a little bit. Come watch. Come ask some questions.
that's right.
On that note, we out. We'll talk to you next week.